the release of WWE 2K24, 2K said they were rebooting their ratings. What's my source for this? It's the Up Up Down Down video where they mentioned they were doing it during the ratings reveal. Couldn't find another source confirming it, but I don't really care. Woods would never lie to me, I trust that guy. Well, I will say these ratings are certainly rebooted because god damn, there was a massive change in ratings between this game and 2K23. A change of this scale seems rather unprecedented. It certainly surprised me. So I did what any rational person would do after hearing this news. Meticulously documented the stats of WWE 2K22 through 2K24, put them all in a database to ran some queries to see how the stats compare throughout the years. That's right, bitch, you got me making a video making stats about stats. Let's fucking go. I passed my stats 120 class at my community college 5 years ago, and my god, you better believe I'm busting out the means, the medians, and you better be getting in the mood for some modes. Okay, so I gotta lay down some ground rules. First of all, I don't count managers in this because they ain't playable. Sorry, my rules get bent. Second, I also don't take into account duplicates. I'm not considering each of the 20 versions of John Cena that have slight differences. I'm only considering the one with the highest overall. So if Doink the Clown 98 has an overall of 24 and Doink the Clown 14 has an overall of 99, we're gonna be using Doink the Clown 14 as the point of our comparisons. Third, this video isn't gonna be recording the stats of specific superstars, that's for another video. This is just to get a feel for how things generally shook up compared to the previous games. Speaking of the last game, we lost some superstars between 2K23 and 2K24, which is always expected. People get fired, some people quit, and some people do a topic that I'm not touching with a 100-foot pole. So the amount of characters that did not return to this game was 23. And here is that list. Though you could debatably say 22 did not return because Brock Lesnar is playable in showcase mode, but I'm not gonna count that. I'm only counting people who are playable in exhibition. Sorry Brock, I can't put you in a hardcore deathmatch with my custom poopy poopy butt butt title on the line, so you don't make the cut. Additionally, out of those 23 superstars, 18 of them are currently active and 5 of them are legends. And yes, I consider Vince McMahon currently active, and yes, I consider Titus O'Neil a legend because oorah. But how does that compare to the last game? Well, between 2K22 and 2K23, a staggering 40 superstars were cut between games. Bearing in mind that 2K23 came out right after those mass layoffs between 2021 and 2023. And even though a lot of those cuts came during 2021, a lot of those superstars still appeared in 2K22 regardless. I guess they already had them made and 2K was like, oh fuck it, and left them in. Which, I don't blame them. If I spent a good portion of my life modeling Slapjack's mask to be just right, I'd want to make sure everyone saw it in all its glory too. But I digress. Additionally, out of those 40 superstars that were removed, 35 of them were currently active at the time and 5 of them were legends. I guess there's just a rule where you need to remove 5 legends per game, I don't know. But that's enough on those we lost. Let's focus on those we have. Between 2K23 and 2K24, we saw 27 superstars added, with 16 of them being currently active and 11 of them being legends. This makes a total amount of unique superstars in 2K24 205 wrestlers to choose from. Time for those comparisons. Between 2K22 and 2K23, we saw a staggering 53 new additions, with only 9 of those being legends, and the other 44 being current members of the roster. This brought up 2K23's total amount of unique wrestlers to 201. Then to cap this off, the total amount of unique wrestlers in 2K22 is 188. So with each game, we're seeing a constant increase in unique wrestlers to choose from, which is a generally good thing I would consider. That's all well and good, but let's get to the nitty-gritty. Let's talk about those stats. So for this, we're gonna start by judging how the overall roster fared between each game. So we're gonna see how many of the returning superstars improved, stagnated, or got worse between each game. Starting with stagnation, between 2K23 and 2K24, 25 superstars stayed exactly the same overall. Comparatively, between 2K22 and 2K23, 52 stayed exactly the same. Then in terms of improvement between 2K23 and 2K24, we saw 26 superstars improve their overalls. And then between 2K22 and 2K23, 37 improved their overalls. Then lastly, and this is the big one, we saw between 2K23 and 2K24 a staggering 127 overalls went down. Comparatively, between 2K23 and 2K24, only 37 overalls went down. Wowie zowie, people did not fare well in this edition of the game. So did all of these 126 superstars just have a horrible 2023? Not really. I certainly wouldn't say so. I think to get a better understanding of this, we need to look at the bigger picture. So to do this, I just did some really basic number crunching, like shit you did in elementary school, but it's cool, so whatever. Anyways, first, I wanted to compare the averages, and these were the results. The average overall in 2K22 was 83 on the dot, the average overall in 2K23 was 83.6, and the average overall in 2K24 is 80.6. So the average overall actually stayed really close to 2K23, despite how many superstars had their overalls changed. Then if we take a look at the medians, which some say does a better job at painting the proper vision or truth of, I don't know, a better idea of the statistics than the average, we see that 2K22 has a median of 82, for 2K23 the median is 84, and lastly for 2K24 the median is 80. So again, pretty even across the board. Then lastly, I wanted to take a look at the mode, which is where I think things got really interesting. So for 2K22, we see that the mode was 88, with 25 superstars having that overall. Then for 2K23, the mode was 79, with 16 superstars having that overall. And then lastly, in 2K24, the mode is 74, with 20 superstars having that overall. So judging by the results, you can see that it's not necessarily that superstars performed worse this year, it's just that 2K clearly wanted to have a rebalancing of the roster so that there is more representation between all possible overall ranks in the game. And wait, I can actually prove that. Tony, bring out the graphs. So, as you can see, 2K22 has a really low variety of overalls, with hardly 22 overalls being represented. And we see that spike with 2K23 jumping to 34, and then the variety only gets higher with 39 with 2K24. Additionally, with 2K24, you can see there being much more representation in the 60s and 70s overalls. If I were to speculate on why 2K decided to take this approach, and also understand that these are solely me making assumptions, and it's not like a definitive, this is the reason why, it's just me guessing, it's likely that they want to introduce a greater variance in power levels across the roster. In 2K22 and even 2K23 to some extent, the overall ratings were so similar that a lot of the wrestlers' power levels all felt the same because, well, they were. In 2K24, I think they wanted to fix this, and have a larger difference in power levels across the roster, which I see this as a positive change. 2K wrestling games aren't intended to be perfectly balanced fighting games, and I think that's true for most WWE games. If I were to take one of the older arcade games, like, I don't know, Here Comes the Pain for instance, if I were to pick someone like Steven Richards, I'm probably gonna get my ass kicked by The Undertaker. But these built-in imbalances between wrestlers are part of the charm of wrestling games. Whether it's laughing at being jobbed out or popping off for that upset victory, by having that variance in overalls, it creates the unique and entertaining moments that can only be found in wrestling games. By creating a larger discrepancy in overalls, I think 2K24 made a great step in making the games more enjoyable. How do you feel about these changes though? Do you think that they were too harsh on the roster? Did your favorites get jobbed out? I know mine did. But let me know in the comments, and be sure to stay tuned for the next episode, because next we're going to be taking a detailed look at the specifics of the roster with my new award show, the Statties. So stay tuned for that. Okay, I'm pretty tired now, so I'm gonna go to bed. Good night.